Welcome all to Classic Car Life and to Goodwood for the 2016 Revival meeting. Now if you haven't been to the Revival before, it's one of the biggest historic motoring events where some racing icons battle bumper to bumper on the track. So the idea of today is I'm going to show you around this amazing event, show you all the best bits and what it's like to attend an amazing event like this. Now if you're into classic cars and you haven't been to Goodwood, I would highly advise it because it's one of the best events on the calendar. So let's get into the paddocks while it's nice and early and see some of the amazing cars there are here. This is why Goodwood is one of the greatest events in the world. You can see behind me two Ferrari 250 GTOs and one Ferrari 330 GTO. The 250 GTOs are selling for upwards of £30 million. They're some of the most incredible cars in the world, and it's not just them here. Obviously you've got a massive bunch of other cars, so I'm going to keep looking around now. Alright, so guys, this event just keeps getting better and better. Just past the 250 GTOs, there's 5 250 short wheelbase Berlinetta Ferraris, one of which is the winner of the Kinrara Trophy yesterday afternoon if you're watching that in the live feed or here at Goodwood. Behind me here you can see Ford WPD, the first ever lightweight E-Type. This car left the factory as a production car, but after heading out on track and challenging the Ferraris, it became obvious it had huge potential. Then over the next 5 years it was converted into the lightweight spec that we know today and we see out on track and at Goodwood all the time. I'm now in the pit lane, there's pre-war cars coming past, it's so busy here today, the rain is now coming down, it's really slippery and there's loads of cars spinning, but I'm going to keep walking around and showing you guys the best of the Revival. So the pre-war cars have just come off the track now and they were so loud. I'm now standing in front of this lovely GT40 and I'm going to head off and meet a couple of the guys down at CKL Developments to see what it's like running a car at an event like this. The guys at CKL, they're running 2 D-types and the Jaguar E2A at this event, which is a mixture of a D and an E-type. So I'm going to get down and have a chat with them now. So I'm here with Chris, the founder of CKL Developments, and he's going to tell us a little bit about this amazing Mr. Nobly and Mr. Flatiron we have here.
Right, so why is it called Nobly? Because that is absolutely what it is. The body works a huge series of humps over the wheels and over the engine in order to get the frontal area down. This one's bright yellow because it was the Belgian national racing team's entry at Le Mans in 1958. And actually, it didn't finish the 24-hour race. It selected 2 gears at once, I think, and came to a grinding halt about halfway through the race. It is still very, very competitive, and in the last 10, 12 years has been on the front row many times in the hands of Tiffany Bell, mostly. Next door to it is the only other lister you'll find, which is a Le Mans lister from the same period. And this is the lister Flatiron, and it ran like the year before, 1957. Drivers Holden and Naylor, but later on in its career it was driven by Jim Clark.
So Chris now is going to tell us a little bit about the pre-race checks that you have to do something like this to get it out on the circuit.
Well, although the drivers reported no faults, in fact he was totally happy with the practice, we just can't take the risk of putting him straight out and seeing through the car as it was. So Mark's just going through all the sort of checks that we want to do when he was say looking at the fuel system, brake system, the leaks, looking for loose nuts and bolts, and that's race car preparation. It's quite like the aviation industry. You don't leave anything to chance. You are the front and you stand the best chance of finishing the race.
So to finish off, Chris, out of these two cars, the Flatiron and the Nobly, which one is a better race car?
What a totally unfair question. They're both, in their own right, they're absolutely fantastic chunks of history. They're both absolutely bloody wonderful cars.
Thanks for talking to us today, Chris, and I hope you do well in the racing later.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm looking forward to it.
So it's great to hear from Chris, the founder of CKL Developments, about these two amazing listers, the Nobly and the Flatiron. I think now it's time to have a look around the woodcut paddocks because there are some amazing cars here. Right, so guys, it was great to look around the second paddock here at Goodwood. There are some amazing cars in there, but that's to be expected here at Goodwood. Now it's time for one of the best races of the day. It's full of GT40s and Lolas. GT40s like the one you can see behind me. So I'm going to head down to the assembly area, look around there, hopefully see the cars leaving, head out on track, hear some of the great noise and the V8 rumbles. So let's get there. Alright, so guys, I've just made it to the pits, and what a sight. And listen to that noise. V8's starting up so loud here, and they're about to head out on track. So let's get down there and see some of these awesome cars. Gary here, and he offered me a lift out in his GT40. So you join me now, and I can't believe I'm saying this, going around the Goodwood Motor Circuit in a Mark III GT40. So Gary, can you tell me a little bit about this car we're in?
It was Ford started making GT40s around 64. They weren't immediately successful, and the idea was to beat Ferrari. Henry Ford II was embarrassed by Enzo Ferrari in Modena, went back to Dearborn and decided that they were going to make GT40s to beat Enzo Ferrari. That didn't happen right away, and actually it only started happening when they were sending the GT40s from Slough to Los Angeles to Carousel at the airport, and Carousel fitted 7-liter engines, and they did beat Ferrari. 1966 at the first, second, and third at Le Mans.
So just so people know, what sort of engines is this car got in it?
This one's a smaller engine than the 7-liter engine, so 4.9-liter high performance. We call them 302 cubic inches, but it's a high performance 302 made by Ford Experimental in Dearborn. They shipped them over to Slough, where the cars are made by Ford Advanced Vehicles.
How much horsepower?
This one is advertised at 306.
So we've got 306 horsepower coming through the rear wheels on a wet Goodwood track.
And on this track, since it's so slick, we're not doing what we normally do. We've got to kind of take it easy.
So on the dry track yesterday, what sort of speed were you getting up to, Gary?
We were running up somewhere around 120, which is just nothing on a dry track. Doing course car runs. We have this out. We have the Ford Motor Company's Mark III, their Mark II, and this Mark III out yesterday was after every qualifying session. And every qualifying and practice session. Today, it hadn't been out much, just simply because it's so wet, and they're doing actual races today.
Yeah.
So we haven't been out here about 13 times yesterday.
So just so you guys know, we're in the GT40 as a course car. We're doing a couple of laps in between the races that go on.
And on a wet track, we're only running about 90 miles an hour right now, which for this car is nothing. And a Mark III is a road-going GT40. They made 7 of these. This is the last customer car, and the red one that's in front of us,
Yeah, so just to let you...
Ford never sold. So that was Walter Gage, the Ford executive. That was his personal car.
So that's still owned by Ford today?
And it's still owned by Ford. They never sold it. This is the last customer car, the next to the last one made. It was bought new by Sir Max Aitken of Beaverbrook Publications, that I believe at the time owned the London Times.
So just to let you guys know, we're following another Ford Mark III, and behind us we've got a racing Ford Mark II. So this is an insane experience that's going on right now. Just coming around past the pit lanes.
And from here back to the assembly area, I think.
Yeah. So heading back into the assembly area where we started off now.
Here we are.
So I guess the last thing to say is thanks for making this happen.
Well, nice to meet you, Will.
Nice to meet you as well, and I hope to see you soon.
Yep.
Alright, Right, so guys, you join me now back in the assembly area, and that was the most insane experience of my life. So Gary offered me the lift, I got in his GT40, and he took me around the Goodwood motor circuit for a lap. That was insane. The noise of that V8, I hope you could hear me inside the car because it is really loud. It's basically a road legal race car, it's awesome. So there was 2 Mark IIIs out there, we was following the other Mark III, then there was a Mark II race car behind us. That was insane. But there's no time to hang around because C-Types and Cooper Jaguars have just gone out on track, so I'll capture some of that action for you. Now then guys, and hopefully the tannoy isn't talking over me, but this is the last race of the day, so I'll try and get you some of the pit action as the pit crews race to get their cars back on the track if they break down, or as the cars come in for various
Hats off to Richard Walmer, spectacular in this car.
Right, so guys, that race ended earlier than expected. I'm not sure if it's because of the weather or the conditions, but as I got into the pits, the race ended, so I couldn't show you any action from that. But I am going to go and see James Cottingham from DK Engineering, who was out in that race in a Ferrari, and see how it went and see what the conditions were like. So I'm here with James from DK Engineering, and he's just got back from the Freddie March Memorial Trophy. How was it today, James?
Fun, but it was extremely wet, so it was very slippery. We saw in the race that they cut it short because so many cars went off. And in this particular race, lots of stuff's really super high value, so people have got to go out there and be careful and look after the cars and not risk them too much. So it was tricky conditions.
DK running any more cars at the event?
Yes, so we've got. We had an E-Type, 363 E-Type in the Carousel Trophy last night. We had ACAs in the Bristol Engine race this afternoon for the Bank Cup.
Thanks for talking to us today.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of the evening.
So it was great to talk to James just then from DK Engineering and find out what the race was like, the Freddie March Memorial Trophy. He said himself it was very challenging conditions, and I found out now that is why the race ended and I missed all the action when I got to the pits, because there's £1 million machinery spinning off left, right and centre, and it simply wasn't safe. So one thing you will find out about Goodwood is that you find yourself getting drawn back to the pits. I'm now back in the pits, as you can see, and behind me is the stunning Acura Cross Transporter truck. Now this truck is so legendary, it's so well known in the classic car world. Also the Cobra Transporter truck is over there, which I'll show you in a minute. So yeah, there's so many amazing cars in this paddock, and I found myself back in it. Jump from Goodwood then, because you now join me in my hotel room for the night. I'm obviously attending the Sunday. I don't think I'll be vlogging the event, but I will be taking photos and sharing them with you on Instagram. Now the journey to the hotel wasn't really that interesting. It was pretty wet and miserable, so it wasn't much worth recording, and we didn't see many cars on the way. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Obviously, apart from the rain, I had an amazing day. Going out in that GT40 was insane. It kind of left me speechless at times. Obviously, meeting Gary, it was brilliant. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and obviously the interviews and bringing you along for this event, because it is such an extreme event. There is nothing else like this in the world. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope it's given you an insight into the event if you haven't been before. Obviously, as always, do like, all the like ratings help, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys all soon.